Music! Okay. Got a Hobbit beer here. So it was finally attempted to host a live hangout, and so thanks to Reviewing Under Influence for helping me get through that. And so next time I'll know better how to set out invites for. I tried to invite people, but I'm pretty sure I screwed that up, and I'll know better next time. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what I'm doing now. So anyway, on the hangout we were talking. That's why I brought this up too. Is we're talking about gimmicky beers, and I said, "Oh, I got the Hobbit beer. It's a Belgian style triple." And he says, "Oh, it's the Bulg." I says, "Yeah." I says, "You heard of it?" He says, "Yeah. Paul from PA Brew News just did that." So I watched Paul's video, but his is from Fish. This one's from Central City, so I'm guessing Central City is brewing the Canadian Hobbit beers. And they have two others. I think there's a Precious Pills, Gollum Precious Pills, and then some type of stout. I opted for the Belgian Triple, which I already have been drinking on. So let's do this here. Okay, so it's real, pretty much typical smelling, tasting. It's extremely boozy though. Extremely boozy. Like the first shot I got, I was like, "Whoa!" It's like whiskey chills or something. So anyway, I tried to get some of the yeast in here. Yeah, it's floating around there. You can see the particles. I don't know if you can get that. It's gonna be there's like chunks floating in it now. Yeah, still really boozy. Just like as if when you make a whiskey mix and you just put too much whiskey in, like half and half. That's what this tastes like. Even at 10%, you think, how could that happen? Well, I'm not gonna do all the whiskey mixing ratios at the moment, but yeah, it's like a pretty harsh mix, like over 25% Canadian rye with your Coke or something. That's what this is like. Virgin on a half and half mix of rye and Coke, so it's about that stiff. And picking up a bit of bananas in the aroma and then the finish and at the beginning, but at times a pretty heavy cloviness, and it's the typical triple style yeast. A lot of other beers have this very similar style yeast, but it is kind of a bit flat. It's just not well rounded enough, and I think it's because and it is definitely warm enough. This is not a cold beer. It's been out of the fridge for a long time. It's exactly where this beer should be temperature wise. So I would blame that on the extreme amount of booziness in here. There's a lot of heaviness, but man, all them cloves, you're getting all them yeast, them triple style yeast flavors coming through big time, but with just ethanol all over the place, all through the middle, on top, underneath, burns down the throat, evaporates back up again. This is the booziest beer I think I've ever drank. Well, there's a couple Imperials and barley wine that I've had. Actually, Central City, their Thor's Hammer was pretty harsh. For a barley wine, I'm used to American style barley wines, and I can deal with them enough. But the Thor's Hammer, that was a bit hard drinking. It was a slow drinking beer. This one, same. This one's even harder, even slower drinking. I don't think I'll be put like I've drank this fairly quickly, but near the end it'll be slowing down. Lots of glass lacing, everything's fine. The body's quite flat though. There's not a lot of carbonation to the body. Yeah, kind of gritty. Almost like a rye beer a bit, but that might have something to do with a bit of the yeast particles in there. Flat. Heavy. There is 35 IBU, and I am getting hops out of it. That is one of the flavors that does come through. And in a lot of Belgian beers, I don't pick up a lot of hops. I am tasting fresh hops. This beer is just too damn new. I think it could definitely use some age, but I would probably give it a pass. Because I have access to as much Le Fin du Monde as I want at like $2 a bottle, or $2.50 or whatever. It comes in 6 packs, and it's like 13. What the hell is it? Yeah, it's like 13 or 14 bucks for a 6 pack of Le Fin du Monde here, which is a beer that I would rate 11 out of 11. Yeah, time and time again. This one would not get an 11. As it's warming up, opening up, it's not improving. It's getting worse, and it's which is kind of unusual for this type of beer for me. Like a bigger, especially a Belgian beer, they should be getting better as they warm up and degas. But this one is just basically becoming flat, and the flavor isn't changing a whole lot. Yeah, just a ton of booze in the finish. So, I could give it a. It's almost hard. It's almost hard to give it a 9. It's like an 8 3/4 to a 9 out of 11. You know, and for a Belgian triple, that's a little abnormal. Most of the ones I've had have been a bit better than this, but it's not a horrible beer. It's still pretty good. And Central City does make some pretty good beers, but I might recommend maybe sticking with their lower ABV stuff maybe for a little while until they figure this shit out, because their big beers are a little bit scary. You know what I mean? Fuck around. Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't have. It doesn't have the presence of the triple that I want. It doesn't have the full flavor. It has the booze. It has the ethanol. It has the hops, but it doesn't have the malt behind it. It is thick in that, but it's just not thick enough. Like, this is a triple that may not be attenuated as good as it could be or something. And that's just my assumption. I could be totally wrong in there. I don't know what they did, how they brewed it, but that's how I'm tasting it. That's just my fantasy of what went wrong here. It's a really good Belgian triple. Like, I do like the hops that are coming out. Because I do like hops a lot. I am enjoying that, but it's just not thick enough for this style. It should be a lot more syrupy, resiny. It should have a lot more like barley flavor, and I'm assuming there should be some wheat in this. I don't know what the recipe is for this. I'm assuming most of these Belgians have wheat and some weird shit in them. The yeast tastes pretty good though. Pretty much spot on. Yeah, but like I said, it tastes like a harsh vodka mix, or I say whiskey mix. I was saying before, but actually, the reality is it tastes like a harsh vodka mix, like you had Sprite and vodka and just went way overkill on the vodka. Yeah, so I'm gonna 8 3/4 this one actually. It's a gimmicky beer. I think I only paid about $10 for it, but I would say in the world of Belgian style triples, there's a lot that I would take over this one. And that's all there is to it. And I'm out.